you can't, like I said, I cannot make a guarantee that I'm not contagious, because even though the worst has happened, the fact that I'm still plugged up and coughing a bit doesn't guarantee that what I have may not manifest itself in worse ways in other individuals. So, and I hate it because out of all nights, with tonight's weather, Alexis, I just received note from let me see. He only sent it to me. Hold on. Just to give you from Ben Kohanim. He's no longer presenting tonight. Okay.
Okay. Oh, the ideas on Inwood Hill, Dykeman.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me get my resolution also.
Yeah, the resolution. And I mean, we already had a discussion. I'm going to be in silent mode today because I cannot talk and take notes at the same time. So this is very.
I had got it on mine.
Okay, you can start the meeting if you want now.
Okay, give me 1 minute because I want to pull something up.
Where's our forum?
Good to see you, Barbara. I hope
Thank
you're
you.
well. It's good to see everybody, as a matter of fact.
I hope to be back consistently now. Even if it's on Zoom, I hope to be back consistently.
Yeah.
I got the resolution here. All right.
You got it. And then we're going to add we'll get to it. And then the resolution will go under old business, Alexis. But I think I already told you, I texted you that.
Yeah. Let me just think.
We also have a little bit of wiggle room to allow for 1 or 2 more minutes over the limit time of presentations, because depending on how many people are presenting updates, then we can have the wiggle room for parks and the 1%. Hi, Jenna. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy leap year.
Happy New Year. My goodness, we just jump into this and it's like, that's my fault. Straight to business, because I'm like Larry David. It's like, 3 days, but we haven't seen each other.
Hey. It's a leap year. We have 1 extra day in February.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
So where do you want to?
No, yeah,
Yeah, I just want to ask you.
Yeah, you don't have to ask me permission. We know you. Hi, everybody. So
all right, let me get ready, Alexis, let me just open all right, sorry about that. Let me just get ready for a minute. All right, take it away. Ready.
Okay, so Luana is on Zoom. She's not feeling well. And we have Danny and myself here, and Barbara is back in action on Zoom. Welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everyone has a good, prosperous New Year with a lot of happiness. Luana, is there anything you want to add as we open up the first meeting of the year of 2024?
Well, welcome everybody. Good evening. Buenas noches. Alexis will be chairing in order for us to keep sort of like an equitable workload between the chair and the co-chair. Alexis has been so nice to take minutes for the past 2-3 meetings of sorts. So it's only fair that, especially now that I'm not present, also, we did agree that she would share a couple of meetings and then I will take minutes. So I have no updates other than we have had some very successful and productive conversations throughout Inwood and Washington Heights as it concerns to parks, new initiatives, which I will allow people within their space to report. And with no further ado, Madam Chair, for tonight, take it away.
Okay, so we have programming updates from cultural and Friends of Parks organizations. I'm going to just do something on behalf of United Palace very quickly. So Sunday, January 21st, they'll be presenting the New York City premiere of The Chevalier. It was a 2022 movie, and it's about the work of Joseph Bologna Chevalier de Saint George. He was an 18th century composer and violinist, and it's featuring R.J. Foster, who was in Fat Ham, Classical Theater's Harlem Sees the King. Sorry, had to plug that. The Lehman Trilogy, and violinist Brendan Elliott, with music by the Harlem Chamber Players. That's January 21st at 4 p.m. at United Palace. Okay, so, Marty,
I'd
Collins. I'm sorry, Barbara, go ahead.
like to do a ring update when you call on me.
You got it. Uh, okay, yes, Catherine, you'll go next right after, Marty. Mr. Collins.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you very much. Happy New Year. I want to first announce that we are very, very busy here this evening, having the closing reception for our current exhibition, Hispanic Heritage in the Heights. We have a nice crowd who's joined us this evening, but moreover, we have a number of programs coming up that I think you'll be very, very interested in. First, one of the programs is a program that Community Board 12 was a creator of, along with the Manhattan Times and others, some 22 years ago, and that is the 22nd Uptown Art Stroll, which will take place this June, throughout the month of June in West Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. And this year we're going from 125th Street to 220th Street. And the poster contest is the kickoff for the annual Uptown Art Stroll. This was last year's poster contest winner, and Alexis Devin White, who was a wonderful Broadway dancer and put on a beautiful show for us here at the Palace, part of the closing reception. And we are looking for submissions from Washington Heights, Inwood, and West Harlem artists at this time through April 1st. And the details are on the homepage of our website, nomanyc.org. That's NOMAANYC.org. And this, we've never had a repeat winner in our 22 years of poster contests. We'll see if we can foster that this year. But artists uptown from 125th to 220th Street are welcome to submit their entries for the poster contest now through April 1st, and the submission form is on our website. Also, we will have submissions taking place through the month of February 5th, for a show that will open on Thursday, February 29th, our 15th annual Women in the Heights, and that is open to self-identified women artists living in El Barrio, Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. And again, the details are on the homepage of the website, and we encourage you to submit for our 15th annual Women in the Heights, which will open on Thursday, February 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the United Palace. You can mark your calendars as well for the Uptown Art Stroll opening, which will take place on Friday, May 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the United Palace. And last but not least, for our current newsletter, NOMA's brand new photo studio, artist opportunities, and other news, please see the website, nomanyc.org. And I'll put that all in the chat. If you have any questions, you can email me and I'll do my best to answer them.
Great. Thanks, Marty.
I have a question, Marty.
I have to interrupt. I am outside of our building. Could someone come open the door? It's locked.
The gentleman is down there. Just keep banging on it. He'll let you in. Thank you, love.
Thank you.
Marty,
Thanks,
I went to the website because I did get the announcement in our email, and I want to post on my various social media the announcement for the poster. Is there a formal announcement yet up in the website? Because I couldn't find it.
It's right there on the homepage, and I also emailed it to you about 4 o'clock this afternoon, along with Ebenezer and Catherine.
Yeah, I did get the email, but I'm wondering if there's like those like nice posters that you do to make the announcement.
That's in there too, in English and in Spanish.
Thank you. I'll find it.
So, yes, Catherine Hughes, you're up from Morris Jamel Mansion. Catherine? Okay, Catherine, I saw you on the chat, said you were here. Okay, maybe you are taking a break. Okay, Barbara, do you want to talk about the Ring Garden?
Sure. First, I'd like to comment that the Ring Garden, following Martin, has been a participant in the Uptown Art Stroll for all of its 22 years and has its Art in the Garden at the time during the Uptown Art Strolls. So, and Danny Bonilla, who's sitting there, has in the last couple of years really led the Art in the Garden. So get ready, Danny. It's a thankless task. Good luck. I hope you're going to do it again this year. He's smiling, but it's a very, very successful event and really pulls in many, many artists to perform, sing, dance, the plastic arts, paintings, and so forth. I just wanted to report that the Ring holiday party was again a smashing success. Mr. and Mrs. Claus came, and I
Oh,
wanted to publicly do a shout out, especially to Ren Harrington, formerly a Phantom of the Opera and a very well known jazz singer who was Mrs. Claus, and to Cassandra Colazzo's husband, whose name I forget, who was Mr. Claus. We had over 200 people there, especially little people, who were thrilled. And each child received either a very nice bag of candy or either a book that was either PBS or Scholastic book. And overall, nice food was donated by some businesses, and it was really, really a great, great party with the tree lighting. So it was big success. I also wanted to ask, when Morris Jumel comes back, I read this article in the Times of
yes,
basically Morris Jumel
yes.
suffering, and I wanted to throw out, where's a
Uh,
community board? I'd like
Barb,
them to address that and how we could help, or just put that out on the table of
thank you,
the.
Barbara. What I wanted to tell you was we actually had a few meetings where the community was present. We
Mhm.
have a resolution that we worked on and that we're going to talk about today under old business. And I don't know if you were able to go to the virtual parlor chat that they held on December 20th, but it's on their website and it's on their YouTube channel, and that tells everything.
Catherine needs to be promoted to panelist in order for her to speak. I just saw the chat.
Yeah, why am I not one? Okay. Whoops, where'd it go? Hello, everybody.
Okay, thanks, Alexis. I've been a little out of the loop, but
I
my
know.
heart's been in the right place. My
I
heart's
know.
been in the right place.
It always is.
We love you, brother.
It always is. Okay, why can't, there we go. Okay. Okay, Catherine, you're up. I promoted you.
Go ahead.
I am
Yes.
here. Okay,
Okay,
thank
go.
you. We have this Saturday our Con Ed Family and Community Day, which is honoring MLK Jr. by making protest signs and buttons. That is from 1 to 3 for families in the community. And we also have next week on Wednesday night another virtual parlor chat. It's always the third Wednesday of the month from 7 to 8. This one is looking at Martin Luther King in Harlem. So in celebration of his day, we have invited Dr. Tracy Parker, a specialist in the civil rights movement, to talk about his time in Harlem and his connections to the area. So please do check those out. They're on our website, www.morrisjamel.org. Thank you.
Okay, and Catherine, I just want to say that I received a lot of very good feedback about the virtual parlor chat.
Oh, great.
People felt that you were connecting and that, you know, that Morris Jamel is making attempts to do the right thing.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Alexis.
And I'm going to be honest with you, that's all we really want from Morris Jamel, is to love the community as much as the community loves Morris Jamel Mansion. And as long as we keep talking and having those chats, we are going to be A-okay.
Great. That's what we want as well.
Thanks. Okay, who do we have next? Corey from New York Restoration. Come on.
Hello, everyone. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for the opportunity to give my monthly updates. I'm going to be very brief, as you guys probably know, in the winter, we're very much off season. Looking forward to continuing a lot of our programmatic events when March and the spring roll around. But I do have some updates for the group, some really good news. We have collected the lowest monthly total of needles in Highbridge Park and Sherman Creek Park in years. And this is thanks to a phenomenal parks partnership and the On Point NYC safe injection site. So our team reported that we've collected, as a result, the lowest amount of needles in both parks, which is really good news. Another quick update I wanted to give the group is that in February, we're going to be hosting our final Sherman Creek Advisory Committee on the Living Shoreline, which will be our 4th one to date. The date has yet to be finalized, but we're looking at sometime in early February. Any advisory member will be getting an email about it once it's all locked in. And once we get all the feedback from all 4 of the meetings, we're going to obviously, it'll really help us with the design part of our Living Shoreline as we move into the next phase. And in terms of that, that's really all the updates I have. Obviously, there'll be a lot more to report once spring rolls around, but just wanted to provide those 2 updates to the group. Thank you.
Thank you. Benny, did you not want to, you said you did not want to, do you have anything to present? I promoted you to panelist. Okay. All right. Benny, I'm sorry, I promoted you to panelist. Did you have anything to say, Benny, from Al Taylor's office? Any updates? Well, alrighty then. Well, let us know when he comes back. Anybody else? Oh, Julie McCoy. Do you have any updates for us? Okay.
Alexis, do you want me at Parks? Sorry.
I see when you promoted me to panelist, it made me reload. Hi, everyone. Really briefly, canoeing is, I will canoe, kayak year round, but most people won't go out when it's cold. What we do have at the Inwood Canoe Club is with our friends at Friends of Inwood Hill Park, we have some shoreline cleanups, essentially the 3rd Saturday of every month. So that's going to be next Saturday, the 20th, and the 3rd Saturday of the months after, 10 o'clock. So we are hosting shoreline cleanups with that group. We are planning our summer season. We're happy to say that we've received a grant from Carmen de la Rosa's office, so we're working on putting that to some good use. We have previously bought some smaller kayaks that are fit for not quite teenager-sized people, so a little small for adults, but just right for kids. So we've got some plans afoot. That's it for now. You should be seeing, well, if you have signed up for our email list, we will be sending out a public email blast next week that kind of summarizes that as well as some other activities. And that's it for the Inwood Canoe Club. It's January.
Oh, perfect timing. Thank you. Okay. Benny, are you back to? Okay, let's go.
From the assembly side, we have 2 events in January that we would like to share with you. The first one is January 20th, and it's going to be from 10 to 12, 10 in the morning to noon at Common Goods at 2801 8th Avenue. It's sit and meet with the assembly member. And that's open to everyone. And the second one is a listening tour, which is January 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Espionage Gardens on West 147th Street and 7th Avenue.
Great. Anything else?
That is it. Our scheduler sent the flyer to Ebenezer. So I don't know if he has shared it with all you members, but you should have the flyers ready. If you don't, please, I'm gonna put my information on the chat. If you don't have the flyers, let me know and I would be more than happy to share it with you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, I see somebody from We Act. Sorry, my timer is George Michael's. Okay, if I don't see, is there anyone else? I don't see anybody raising their hand.
Which George Michael song?
Gotta have faith. Don't make me sing it.
I'm sorry, I screamed at everyone. I was in a wind tunnel with the stroller and desperate to get out.
Okay.
So thank you, members, for your patience.
Right, so I'm sorry.
Alexis, could I
Yes.
comment? The assembly members meeting that will be at Esplanade Gardens, that's right kitty corner from the major senior center. I forget the name of it, but that's kitty corner. So the office should make sure that they get the flyers into that senior center.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so we
Okay,
have
so we have
one more.
one
I
more.
don't know why I'm getting that feedback.
No.
Just gonna promote the young lady from We Act.
Hello. Oh, I can put it
Yes.
down. This is Mary Lady.
Yeah.
I am the bilingual community organizer, and this Saturday we have our membership meeting that is happening every second Saturday of the month, where we're going to have 3 of the 4 city council members of the Upper Manhattan, where they're going to speak about their agenda for 2024 and the environmental issues are what they're going to do in their area. So you are welcome to attend. It's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's going to be at 454 West 155th Street. That's Prince Lodge. That's next to San Nicola. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and Miss Jana.
Okay, thank you. I figured you want me to do the programming stuff now. So quick shout out, Time Out Magazine New York featured our public art exhibition at Fort Tryon Park. So just a reminder, that's up through April 30th, 7 sculptures throughout the park. In addition, we have some events happening throughout our parks in January. So this Saturday, we have the second Saturday's trail work party and bike share. So this is a pretty cool thing. Our mountain bike partners make free bikes available on the second Saturday at High Bridge. So I'm going to drop a link in, but that's this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 with our BMX jump park in High Bridge. Also, that same day, on Saturday, is the High Bridge Water Tower Tour with Urban Park Rangers at 1 o'clock. The last Sunday of the month. What's that?
No, I want to go to that
The
tower. The High Bridge Tower.
Yeah, the High Bridge Tower is January 13th. Really, I've done it myself. It's incredible. So I highly recommend it. It does, of course, require a lot of stairs going vertical. So it is certainly.
Did we freeze or did Jana freeze?
Oh, no, I think she's frozen.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she froze.
Come back to us. Oh, yeah.
Not accessible to get all the way to the top. View reservoir pool. The last Sunday of the month, we have a High Bridge hike. Again, also a vigorous activity. Meet at McNally Plaza. I'm going to drop this link in the chat. Let me stop my video because it says that I'm not coming through great.
Yeah,
here, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the storm, you guys. February 3rd, I'm going to stop my video. Hold on. February 3rd. Oh, let's see. Am I still here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. February 3rd, Friends of Inwood Hill. February 11th, we have a bird photography event. And then we have Horse of Course, which we're bringing to High Bridge. I'm trying to stop my video. So I'll drop that link in the chat. Thank you.
What is
Horse of Course?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So Horse of Course is our mounted unit. So the horses are actually police officers. It's really phenomenal. So we're doing our best to bring them to as many parks as we can up here. But the horses come out, they are police officers. They come with their officers who ride them, and they will talk about the role of horses in parks enforcement, and their role as officers, what they do, how they're employed, a little bit about horses, how they're fed by parks, the stables that they're kept at, etc.
The horses are big too.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love
Really
that.
big. Yeah, they're really big. I'll drop this link in the chat.
Great. Okay, so we have no more reports. And that's okay. So now, Jenny, you up for your updates on capital projects? Any updates?
Sure, yeah. So a couple of things, here's really good news. I'm excited to share with everybody. We just got word today that the Urban Park Rangers have moved into the Inwood Nature Center. So this is really exciting. As you guys probably know, it took 10 years to build the Nature Center, and now it's taken 10 years to bring it back after Sandy. So we are getting really close to opening it to the public. We're waiting to hear from the Urban Park Rangers, but they have moved in this week. Next up is the exhibitions that they'll be installing in the Nature Center. So what's that?
No, I was just asking, that's the building by Payson Park, right?
The Nature Center is in Inwood Hill Park, and it's right there on the water. It's on the bay, as I call it. So if you come in at 2
I know which building you're talking about. Yeah.
That's the one that Sally won, right? That was, yeah.
It's by the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you come in at 218th and Indian Road, and you just keep, going down west on 218th, you'll come to
the next building right over there too.
Yep, it's across from the baseball field so that hopefully next month, you guys, I'll be able to give you a definitive opening date, but we are planning an opening party for the community. So I'll give you more news on that as we've got it. But that's an exciting thing. I also had a meeting with Friends of Inwood Hill on Saturday as part of the planning for that and some other things at Inwood Hill. We are waiting to hear on Monsignor Kett. We've come across a hurdle with the public restroom there in terms of contracting because of tree roots. So we'll update you on that as we get word back from forestry and what we can do about that. Adventure Playground.
Dana, before you continue, Monsignor who?
Monsignor Kett. That's right there.
Tell the last name.
Kett.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's right there on 10th. And the playground there, Luana, is new. We opened that before you became chair. It's really nice. Also basketball courts right next to the Dykeman houses. So we are planning a public restroom there, but again, construction, we've hit literally a root. So we'll keep you updated as we hear back from forestry in terms of how we can proceed, because that might need to be eradicated, dug out, and it's kind of a big project because it's very deep. Adventure Playground, fingers crossed. We also can give you word next week or next month rather on the opening of Adventure Playground. That's very, very close to being finished. We did a walkthrough, so we're like 90% of the way there. That's the public restroom right there at Highbridge, Adventure Playground, and also Quisqueya Playground. So that one we don't have any word on right now in terms of status. The contract, because of the holidays, we haven't heard back yet. So that's another one we'll report back on in February. We're working on a retaining walls. We had some site visits today, as a matter of fact, and the zigzag behind J. Hood Wright, we actually received some not so good news. So we're probably going to have to close that off because of the bottom of the zigzag ramp is not stable. So we're going to be working on that tomorrow. Additionally, we had very bad news with the retaining wall. A vehicle slammed into the retaining wall above Lily Brown Playground at 161st and took out the entire retaining wall right there at first. So we are waiting to hear how and when we can get funding to repair that wall. It's really a bad, unfortunate thing because we've been working hard on Lily Brown Playground to repair the plumbing issue there, which we did, and now this. So we'll keep you updated.
I'm sorry, I do have a question. And I know I say this a lot in these meetings, but I know we have to, this is morbid, but I know we have to wait 2 years before we can name something after somebody passes. I thought it was two. Is it two
Yeah.
or three?
I think it's the,
Marty says two, yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Is there, so I know we cannot do anything yet in honor of Sally Fisher, but
Let's
when,
name something after Sally. Hell
yeah. Is there something we can do when the nature center is ready in honor of her?
Well, that's a
ribbon-
really good
At
question,
the very
Alexis.
least? Say it again,
That's a-
dear?
It's a very good question because naming of properties at parks changes a bit with each commissioner because it's an initiative that the commissioner oversees. So that's one aspect. Commissioner Sue Donahue is still with us, of course, so we can definitely check in on that. It is a process that, of course, has to be community advised, and there's community input sessions. So a whole bunch of names can be put in the hat for what's, being proposed. Two, there's a little bit of a caveat there. If something is a state law property, this came into effect when I was the administrator in Harlem, for instance, for St. Nicholas Park. If something is a state law naming right, it has to go through the state legislature versus the city or something that's easily renamed through parks because it's not legal. You know what I'm saying? It's not like legally imprinted in legislature that has to be changed. So all that to say is this is something that can certainly be explored. And I think thinking about all of the different spaces within our Northern Manhattan parks that can really represent our full community is something I very much support. As we know, most of the naming rights across parks throughout all 5 boroughs tend to be men and tend to be white men. So I think all that to say, Alexis, I think for sure, let's explore that. Sally Fisher, of course, is a great idea. So is, Maria from Isham Park. There are many opportunities, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not even, going into not getting into all the naming laws and red tape. Just honoring her on the day of the ribbon cutting because it was her passion project and just at least.
I would definitely start that whole project like now because I think you have to get petitions.
Yeah, even if we can just say, listen, can't name this, but Sally, congratulations, you made this happen.
Sure. I don't, Danny, is that you talking?
That I was saying that I think when you have to get things change, their names change, that you have to get a petition, and I would say even starting it now would benefit because I think it's about to be 2 years.
It was just a year, so
yeah.
Okay. So I think 2 things. One, Alexis, to your point, related to the opening party for the Nature Center, there's nothing we have to do there. Let's plan on that. We can certainly salute Sally Fisher for that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know one of my predecessors, Jane Shackett, who was before Jennifer Hoppe, she worked to get that open. So I think there's some honoring we can do for those 2 women for sure in terms of, making the Nature Center happen. Urban Park Rangers, Chris and I are setting up a meeting with them in the next 2 weeks to plan the opening party. So I'll put Sally Fisher's name forward. Friends of Inwood Hill will also be one of our partners for the opening, and we'd love CB12 to be as well.
Can they do a little plaque or something?
Yeah, actually, somebody just put that in the chat. Kaya said the last meeting, a plaque honor near the Nature Center was proposed. So yeah, I think if a plaque even would just be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we can definitely explore all of that. Yes.
Right. How we can make that happen.
Okay, no, thanks you guys. Not to take too much more time, but a couple of other quick things. We just finished Mulch Fest. We're waiting to see if it'll be extended at all, but it's unlikely due to our funding issue. Of course, with the weather tonight and tomorrow, with the rains and the flooding and the winds, we're very concerned. So we're all on watch related to any impact up here. We're very sad. I'm very sad to hear about the crane in Inwood, but fortunately no one was injured the last time I checked. And then new containment, a big pet peeve of mine, and I'm sure of everybody's, are the garbage bags that, you know, we, for instance, J Hood Wright. I've done some walkthroughs at J Hood Wright with friends of J Hood, the dog run community, etc. And one of the things that we're looking at J Hood at the entrance at 173rd and Fort Wash is to stop putting our garbage bags there at the entrance. So Parks borough-wide is looking at containment for garbage, much more in alignment with the mayor's rat eradication program. So look forward to a better solution at the entrance to J Hood Wright.
Thank you so much, Jen. Anything else for us today?
No, nothing pressing. Actually, one quick thing. Amelia Gorman Park, I want to do a shout out.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. We did, I created the first event with Carmen de la Rosa's office, and it was really wonderful. December, we had a community action, Let's Green volunteer day of cleanup in the park and also of bulb planting. We are planning our next one with Manny de los Santos's office for March and another one in April. So I'll report back on that next month, but very excited about our partner Do from a local community garden who's helping us bring in some more partners and some young people. And also Noemi from George Washington High School who brought some wonderful young teens out to our December Community Action Day. So just grateful we're moving things forward there, and I'll give an update next month after Steve Simon and I confer. We're still waiting to get an assessment on current money that's needed for that small retaining wall. We do have $250K set aside. So once that assessment is made, we can actually move forward and fix the wall. So
2 questions. When do you project that Gorman will be completely open to the public again? And question 2, do you have an update on the Dykeman Rest playground that's currently new playground that's being built? So exciting.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. That's a great reminder. I forgot to mention that in my capital. Yes, so that is underway. It's actually been quite interesting at Dykeman Rest because there's been a coyote den right behind the construction. So that's been a little fascinating. We had to bring our urban park rangers out to try to shoo off the coyote. We're making good progress there. We don't have much to say other than that it is underway. It's in an early stage. Basically, they're doing the dig out and also the tree prep and taking out some of the paver stones that we'll be reusing. So I'll definitely update you on that. Not much more to say there. So far, we've hit no hurdles, though, which is wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and in terms of Amelia Gorman, I would expect, again, once we get this assessment of current dollar value, because the 250K assessment was from 2018, so we need to get a 2024 assessment. If we need, here's the good news, if we need another 50K, for instance, to fix that lower retaining wall, thankfully, Councilwoman Carmen de la Rosa has already said she will find it for us. It's a top priority for her as well as for us. So then it's just getting an MWBE contractor, which probably would only take about 3 months. And then we could get underway. The work we don't expect would take longer than 3 to 6 months. So there is potential for it to happen by the end of the year or early next spring.
Jenna, is this for the sorry, for minutes, Barbara? Is this for the retaining wall or for Amelia Gorman, the additional money that you spoke of?
It's for the retaining wall.
Got it.
Within Amelia Gorman Park. Yep. And just a reminder, everybody, I keep saying this, and I know I'm probably an annoying broken record, but so Amelia Gorman Park is really 3 sections. It's the upper terrace, which is open. And we are working hard to start programming the upper terrace. It is open and it is part of the park and it's beautiful. So that's something, please, to keep in mind that is open. The middle of the park is what's closed because of the retaining wall collapse. That's what we're working on in terms of this assessment for money. And then the lower entrance, that Broadway Plaza, is also something we're working to program. So if anybody has ideas or connections you want to make with me, again, I'm going to drop the event listing in the chat and also drop my email. Please reach out to me because the upper and lower entrances to the park. We want to animate while we work on the middle.
Right.
For those who are newer to the Parks Committee, I want to tell people that it's been almost, I think, 5 years that the whole middle of Gorman has been closed, and it's only more recently that the upper and lower plazas have been opened.
Yes.
It's been many years of yellow tape.
Yes, it's true, Barbara. By the way, yes, you're right. I live here.
Yeah,
And
me too.
no, it's true. And because of Barbara's point, I will say, everybody, we're going to have some extra costs because of the need to prune the trees because it's Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, everybody. Now I see we have a presentation on 1% of the city budget for parks, Sharice Palomino, but I do not see her on here.
Hi, I'm actually Carl Nelson from New Yorkers for Parks, standing in for Sharice presenting tonight.
Okay, great. Welcome.
From where?
From New Yorkers for Parks. All set to present?
Okay, rock on. You got 5 minutes.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. It says host has disabled screen sharing. Is it possible to permit screen sharing?
Let's see. Danny, I need you.
I also want to say that Johnny is here from Jazz, and she is already ready to collaborate with you, Jan. If you need Jazz, they're ready to bring Jazz to Amelia Gorman Park.
And I love them, so I'm ready. Yes.
Is there anyone?
No, she's got it. It's Carl now.
What's his name, Carl?
See if I have one. It's right there.
I know, but I need his name.
Or I also emailed the presentation, so if
doing
you're able to share your screen, then I can
She's
do it
working
that
on
way
it.
as well. Great.
Why can't I see the panels?
We were able to do it during the last meeting where multiple people can share. Oh yeah. Okay.
Now I'm able
You're
to.
on. Yep.
Great, thank you. Can you all see this?
Tracy to the rescue, always. Both Tracy and Danny.
Could you give a little
Okay.
background on what your organization is?
Absolutely. So
Thank
again, my
you.
name is Carl. I'm the Administrative and Communications Associate at New Yorkers for Parks. We are a nonprofit organization. We were founded in 1908. We're the only citywide independent parks advocacy organization. So we advocate for equitable development, distribution, and maintenance of parkland throughout the city. We work through a combination of partnerships, advocacy, and research. We're also the co-founders of the Play Fair Coalition. This is over 400 park stewardship groups, conservancies, friends of groups in every neighborhood throughout the city, including Morris Jumel and NYRP, our Play Fair Coalition members. We all collectively advocate on behalf of the Parks Department and the Parks Agency budget. We co-founded this coalition along with DC 37, the Parks Workers Union, the New York League of Conservation Voters, and we work closely with Parks Committee Chair Shekhar Krishnan. This is the Play Fair Coalition.
Woo!
We also released research. Most recently, we released the 1% for Park Impact Report. Primarily what I'm here to talk about today is this call for an increase in parks funding to 1% of the total city budget. This report looks at what that funding increase would mean for New Yorkers, for our park system, and for parks employees. We also released the open space profiles, which look at access to green space in a community district alongside demographic and public health data. And that's a tool that advocates can use to advocate for expanding or improving parkland on the local level. As I said, I'm here to talk about our 1% for Parks campaign. We're calling on the mayor and the city council to allocate 1% of the total city expense budget for New York City parks maintenance and operations. That's an increase from about 600 million to about $1 billion out of a $100 billion budget. It's something that the mayor has committed to, but hasn't followed through on. So we're trying to build support for what we think is crucial initiative. To understand where that 1% number comes from, we can look back at the history of the city budget. Throughout the 70s, Parks Department received, up until the 70s, the Parks Department received around 1.4% of the city's operating budget. But because of the fiscal crisis in 1978, Parks, as well as many other agencies, faced severe cuts to avoid bankruptcy. However, in the 5 decades since, as the population has grown and the city's economy has rebounded completely, Parks remains at just 0.6% of the budget. So we haven't kept pace. Just to demonstrate that this isn't a radical ask, it's a historical precedent that we're trying to return to. When you compare the parks budget growth to other agencies, you can see how far we're falling behind. Other agencies are growing by as much as 165%, while the total city expense budget is growing by 127%, while parks continues to lag. And you see the effect in the quality of these parks and open spaces throughout the city. We also fall behind other major cities. DC,
Wow.
LA, San Francisco, Chicago, Minneapolis all allocate between 1% and 5% of their total budget to their parks departments, despite having significantly low park space as acreage. Parks are a public-facing agency, so cuts to the operating budget means a decrease in the staff available to care for parks and open spaces. So as New York's population has ballooned, the parks budget has decreased, and the number of parks workers, staffing lines available to take care of these spaces, which are more frequently used, has dropped precipitously. Can you understand me? It says my connection is unstable.
No, you're good.
Great.
Fine, no problem.
Great. One striking comparison that illustrates the problem, NYC Parks has one gardener for every 114 acres. San Francisco and Chicago, one gardener for every 18 acres. So with such depleted staffing, obviously, we're not able to maintain our parkland to the same degree as competing cities, and it affects quality of life for New Yorkers. New York City's rec centers are managed, programmed by the park department. At best, rec center, the community centers offering high quality athletic facilities, programming for children's centers, all New Yorkers, but because of a decline in staffing and funding for these sites, they're often not able to live up to their full potential. Another striking comparison is that we spend more on NYPD overtime than we do on maintenance and operations for taking care of our entire 30,000 acre park system.
That's crazy.
We survey stewards and coalition who take care of parks at the local level. They said they're seeing an increase in usership throughout the year,
Sorry, Jeff.
and
I'll
especially
give you 2 more minutes.
okay, great. They're seeing an increase in usership outside of the busy season. People are using their parks more frequently and all year long. They also said visitors are expressing safety concerns in their park, which aligns with what the mayor has reported in his preliminary management reports. We think this is an issue of a lack of a uniform presence in parks, especially PEP officers, Parks Enforcement Patrol officers. Currently, there's only one PEP officer for about every 300 acres. So we think that by funding the department adequately, we can make New Yorkers feel safer, and we can provide a better experience for New Yorkers in these parks. What 1% would mean for New York City: parks are climate defense. It would mean better maintained parks, faster responses, improving accessibility, better working environment for NYC Parks workers, cleaning our air, carbon capture, our trees, and our park system can act as a sponge during extreme rain and flooding. Parks also save and generate taxpayers billions of dollars each year, in addition to providing physical and mental health benefits. The mayor is committed to this funding increase as borough president, as a mayoral candidate, and repeatedly and publicly as the mayor of New York City. Obviously, he hasn't followed through, so that's why we are keeping the pressure on. 44 council members support this campaign. No council members are opposed. and we have 14,000 New Yorkers who have signed on in support as well. So we're here today trying to build as broad support as possible. We're trying to get every single community board to issue a resolution and a letter of support for this long overdue campaign, this investment in our park system, which we think is so critical to the well-being, quality of life in New York City. We have 39 out of 59 community boards signed on so far. And we would absolutely love to count you among those in support.
Well, I think I can, if it's okay, I think I can speak for Community Board 12 that we'd be very happy to support this. Luana?
Yeah, Carl, I'm going to put my email in the chat so that you can send me that presentation, because I think that the more robust our minutes are and cover these very important statistics, the greater the impact of whatever it is that we're going to be doing moving forward. I do believe
Fantastic.
that last year we did write a resolution and it passed unanimously, both at the committee level and also at the board, because I remember clearly this conversation last year, the 1% for parks.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Support me with that, or am I thinking about a different organization? Because I think we've had this discussion before. Yes?
Well, we and our coalition this has been a long running campaign of ours, many years on and off. And we've been I think it's unique in that the mayor has supported it this year. So it is definitely possible that there could have been a similar conversation that happened, but I'm relatively new to the organization, so I can't recall personally. But I have your email here. What we can send to you, and I did email this presentation to Ebenezer and somebody else as well. I'll send it to both of the emails listed. And what I'll also send to you is a draft template of a resolution that you can make your own.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you guys so much. Super appreciate your time.
There's a person by the name of Stephanie Gavan who wants to connect with you in the chat.
Okay, let's see.
Sorry, Alexis. I know that, the whole listening and I'm taking care of the chat.
I see the owl camera saying send to A. Marnell.
Me?
And I also see Luana as well.
And
then I see Stephen Nelson. Okay, great. I'll make sure I get it to all of these.
Stephanie, can you also put in your email, please, in the chat if that's possible? Or you know what, Carl, maybe you can put your email in the chat and then have everybody contact you.
Sure thing.
Go ahead, Alexis, sorry. I just wanted to make sure that he emails me the slideshow so that I can include it in the minute notes.
Not the worst thing that's ever happened to me, trust me. Barbara?
Okay, question.
I'll just say what just happened in the chat was I had saved in my clipboard a social media caption, which is also relevant to the conversation, but might appear completely random. So you can ignore the long string of text from me, and I'll just make sure I drop my email in there again.
Question. Currently, most of what funds the parks, especially capital projects, is money from the budgets of city council members. For example, I've worked with Adonis Rodriguez to have millions of dollars go into the renovation of the Ann Loftus playground and also the new development of the Dykeman Rest playground, like $5 million for that, $3 million for the Ann Loftus. If there was 1% allocated out of the general city budget, would that decrease the amount of money that city council members are currently allocating for programming and capital projects? Also, city council members give their council member money for programming in parks. For example, Carmen De La Rosa is giving a small amount for the Ring Garden for programming.
Oh, thanks for the question. So no, it would not. This funding increase would not affect the council members' respective discretionary funding pools. Important distinction between obviously the capital budget and the maintenance and operations budget. So this is totally separate from the capital budget. Our primary concern, what we see happening year after year, is that council members will make large investments in capital projects in their districts, which is fantastic. But then due to the depleted maintenance and operations budget, there isn't the money to do that upkeep and that maintenance. So then parks quickly deteriorate, and maintenance projects get delayed for years and years and end up turning into larger, more expensive capital projects. So this is primarily about the 1% increase is about making sure that we have the staff to consistently care for and maintain the parks that we do have, and to maintain the new parks that are built to avoid those larger long-term closures and dangerous conditions farther on down the line.
Okay. It has been argued that the city budget process needs to somewhat be changed, that any capital project has to have written into it a maintenance component, and that had somehow under the city charter that couldn't be done. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not, but I'm very interested in that. We also have a parallel campaign to improve the capital procurement process to make it both more efficient and less prohibitively expensive to do
So
capital
perhaps
repairs.
drop your email in the chat for Carl so you can give him that information.
Okay.
Yes, please. That'd be great.
And just so everybody knows, since there's many nonprofits on here, please don't forget the applications are open for city council discretionary funding, and the deadline is Tuesday, February 20th at 5 p.m. So if you're a nonprofit seeking funding, do not forget to check that out. Okay, any questions from the public?
Can you post that information?
Yes, I'll send you my other email and I will send it to you there. Because to type in that, I gave you my work email and I will send you along the city council discretionary fund. And also, if you're a nonprofit seeking funding, you can also email me at that alexis@cthnyc.org, and I can provide you with a free month of a grant database that I use called Instrumental for Nonprofits. It's up to you if you want to sign up, but it allows me to give a free month to nonprofits, since that's the database I use for my job. So feel free. Any other questions for Mr. Nelson?
Great presentation.
Excellent
so much.
presentation. Excellent.
Thank you, and thank you for your support.
Can I say, I like how a lot of the comparisons, just like the budget itself compared to like what the city spends, and like just like that whole overtime thing with the police department. That's
Very
crazy.
effective.
Yeah, and I see where it's just like kind of like where that 1% is it is going to alleviate all the other problems that like I guess like every park department be having, like.
Yeah, I mean, and let's face it, there is a great deal of inequity up in Upper Manhattan. We're not Central Park Conservancy, no offense.
Yeah.
Not a Riverside Park Conservancy.
That 1%
no
can
offense.
affect Mina Gorman Park.
Yeah, so
Those non-conservancy parks, rely completely on the city funded parks department. So those are the parks on the local level that are going to reap the most benefits of this increase.
And I know that this is always the ongoing conversation within the Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee that, sometimes our projects, our asks can rank very low when it comes to the annual ranking. And there's an argument to be made that when you fund parks, cultural affairs, when you open public spaces, that ultimately contributes to raising the safety of neighborhoods, to raising the quality of life of neighborhoods, to motivate new businesses to come in. And it creates these movements where, like I said, quality of life and advocating for that is galvanized. So this is me, born and raised since 1971 in Washington Heights, and I've seen Inwood, I've seen the changes from the 80s, and that this is why I support this wholeheartedly, because
Absolutely.
we see the impact of what opening up parks does to communities.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a huge component of public safety for sure, and it's often overlooked, and we're trying to highlight those intersections as much as possible, so people don't just see this as a narrow single issue, but just see all the ways that it overlaps with other parts of quality of life in the city.
Yeah, it goes into economic development. It just strengthens the community overall. And as we know,
Yeah.
you know, right up here in Upper Manhattan, Bronx, parts of Queens and Brooklyn, you know, there's a lot of need, and because there's a lot of neglect in parks that don't have conservancies. Anywho,
Luana, if I could make a small comment about your presentation, your comparison of the police overtime to the parks budget, it's interesting, but it's somewhat deceptive because if you work at a park, you can knock off at 5 o'clock and there's no issue. The problem with the police overtime is complicated. For example, when a police officer brings someone down for an arrest, they can't leave until that's fully processed, and that requires taking someone downtown, being down at central booking. That can go on until midnight. Also, all these special events that New York City has, parades and so forth, there's a mandatory amount of police coverage that's required, and we have practically a parade a day in New York City, and those require police coverage, and that then runs up overtime. And you can bet yesterday or the day before, the blocking of the bridges and tunnels for the pro-Palestinian protest, there would have been huge amounts of overtime because off-duty police officers would have been called in to clear and deal with that so that it remained peaceful. So that's where overtime gets, cha-chinged up all the time. And you don't have that in the modality that a parks department operates. So that's something you have to look at.
you have been missed, but let's get let's get crazy.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Understood. Yeah, those are good details to note for sure.
Respectfully, I actually think that overtime fact was actually the most effective for me for a variety of reasons. It speaks to the failure of the police department to adequately use their budget. It speaks to the non-transparency of how they allocate funds in their budget. And just to use the two examples that Barbara used, is that specifically in terms of collaring people, there's been an issue of police shockingly often only arresting people at the end of their shifts. And the issue being is that inflating the NYPD budget based upon that. So what it goes to is financial mismanagement by a department that already a lot of New Yorkers feels is unfairly inflated. And as a contrary, I'm about to wrap it up. As a contrary, fact is that we see it was through one of the other statistics that was shown. It was one of the organizations in our city that has increased over 150% rather than the Parks Department that has only done 75%. So I hear you on oh, well, that might be a wrong modality, but we could do that for various different organizations in our city. And I think that was one of the most effective stats. So just as a, Siskel to Ebert, other sort of view.
Yeah.
These were all
Thank
excellent.
you.
I think this is something that is one of those topics that can be cross-pollinated with other committees. It's not just something that we can hash out here right now at Parks and Culture, et cetera. So yes, I wasn't stopping. I just wanted to. No, I was just trying to say.
But I also think that presenting context in whichever way we tilt or feel is also important. So the fact of the matter is that we can make comparisons along fiscal lines, but then the interpretations and the teasing out of what that means is also valid on both sides. So but let's not go on a tangent and keep the focus on parks.
Yes.
And the last thing I'll say is just that those comparisons primarily are meant to illustrate just how this increase from 600 million to $1 billion, it's really a drop in the bucket in $100 billion budget. It's like it's transformative investment that's going to go such a long way. But it's a rounding error, you know, in the grand scheme of things, which is why it's long overdue that we make this investment.
Okay. Thank you, Carl. Now I'm just gonna give our Danny Bonilla would like to say
I
something.
wanted to say that that 1% could have been making all the parks safer. So then they could be like, oh, like not to pay the cops overtime, you know. What you said it way better. Oh my God.
No, all the views are valid.
Everyone's views is valid, and I like seeing that comparison where just say, okay, cool. Like,
Right.
if NYPD could pay for that, like, they could pay for parks as well too, but it just kind of like, okay.
Let's just say, you know, New York City has a lot of fish to fry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we are going on to, no more questions, we're gonna go on to old business, which is the resolution in support of the preservation and maintenance of the Morris Jamel Mansion. Luana, can you share your screen so everybody can see the resolution, or do you want me to just read it?
I have to jump, everyone, if that's okay, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you for
follow up over email. Take care.
great presentation. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
I thought that Ebenezer would include it in the attachments with it, but I should have it here. Hold on.
Have it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you pass? Those two passes.
I got you.
My apologies for the dead time. So hold on.
I like that you know facts and you can just like put them right together. I like that you know facts and you can just like
Daddy, you sound muffled. I don't know why you sound muffled.
Because you're not close enough to the owl.
We were sort of speaking to ourselves. I'm doing a little secret across the table. Jabber.
Man, if you wasn't sick, you would have been out over here.
You should be glad you didn't. Miles and I almost got blown away walking here.
I heard the distress. I was worried.
Is it getting better?
It was very calm until 163rd. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh no, my umbrella got destroyed.
I'm not trying to see.
My co-pilot started complaining.
Hold on.
Man, I wish you had. It's so.
All right. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
If you make me co-host, I can share it and share the screen. I think that there's an addendum provided, given that, first of all, do we need to discuss quorum for the resolution? My understanding is that in order to present a resolution, there needs to be quorum. If people are remote, they can vote, but to present the resolution, there needs to be quorum.
Well,
so
we have three of us
enough people present.
And
then Barbara, of course, she counts as quorum because she has an exception. I unfortunately am not present, so I don't count as quorum.
Jonathan is here today.
Yes.
Yes.
Where is Jonathan?
Well, I don't think Jonathan has.
He's on Zoom.
Yeah,
I've been here since the beginning, 6:30.
Yeah, but even so, like you're not exempt, so like you could be in Zoom.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter because
you have to be present.
Yeah, we haven't had quorum in like, you know.
I understand the thing about the quorum being there physically. I know that.
And I'm happy that that Alexis told me, because I would have put like that you weren't even here on the, you know.
Yeah, we have to make a concerted effort for those who do not have health concerns that keeps them from coming. We have to make a concerted effort to be here in person so that we can have quorum, so that we can pass these resolutions that are important to the community.
No.
Let me ask you, how many members are there? Remind me because I know that we had a member that was misplaced. How many people do we have?
As far as official quorum, we only have 4 right now. As far as like people that say
quorum, Danny, quorum is half plus 1.
Yeah,
he's not on here. And
like Barbara, Alexis, Tracy, and myself. If we were to even quite possibly try to make quorum, that's how much we have now. So
No. I need a number. I need the total amount of people present.
So quorum would be 4, that's half plus 1, correct?
No,
And we have
yes.
4.
I think, yeah.
You have 4 people present?
Well, yes, us 3 and Barbara.
Yeah.
We have quorum. Yes. Thank you. I almost felt guilty, but I was almost gonna go in like a beehive suit. I was like, if there's no quorum, I will go in an astronaut suit and like sit in another room, you know, Tracy.
My question is,
She would have been here today.
hold on, I just want, my question is when we are determining quorum, do you have to count the public member as a part of it?
Oh, that's
I believe so, for a resolution.
We'll do the recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, technically, is half of 7 4 or 3?
It's half plus 1.
4.
So 3 and a
It's
half.
4.
It's 4.
It's
Yeah.
4 is quorum.
Come on.
Quorum.
4 is quorum.
If 4 is quorum, then we have 4 here.
All right.
All right. So we have a resolution, a pending resolution. Take it away, Madam Chair.
So,
Madam Co-Chair.
If
Yes.
that was the case, you have to, if we do have official quorum, we have to, call it.
Yes, we'll just say we have quorum and I will look back at what time did you get here, Tracy?
I got
No,
here
just
at,
call it now, like call the meeting now.
We have,
right?
what time is it now?
well,
We have quorum at 7:40.
Yeah. So we will have to like adopt the agenda, whatever, yeah, you all adopt it. We got to this point at least.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, whereas the Morris Jamel Mansion was granted landmark status by the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission.
No. You have to start with where it's located. Sorry. Yeah.
Whereas, I'll just follow this then. Whereas the Morris Jamel Mansion, MJM, is located at 65 Jamel Terrace, New York, 10032. Whereas MGM was granted landmark status by the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission in 1967 and subsequently designated an interior landmark in 1975. Whereas the New York Times article dated October 29th, 2023, brought to the forefront important concerns regarding the condition and renovation of Morris Jamel Mansion. Whereas an incident and funding timeline has been submitted by concerned members of the community during Community Board 12 Parks and Cultural Affairs meeting on November 12th, 2023. Be it resolved that Morris Jamel Mansion holds a public meeting to provide the community with updates regarding upcoming capital projects. Be it further resolved that the MJM leadership provides the public with a robust plan for outreach to the community at large. And be it finally resolved that the Morris Jamel Mansion works closely and collaboratively with the community and stakeholders in an effort to provide ongoing updates regarding the restoration of what Duke Ellington once called the crown jewel of Sugar Hill.
So I know that there was, I know that there were a little bit of background because the resolution is not official. This is why it's in this template. Once we pass it at the committee level, it goes to the board to be passed by the board, and then it passes. And that's when it gets in the template. This is why it's blank. You don't see the logos or anything because it's not official. Now, the first thing was, I'm sorry, Alexis, I totally took over.
Do it.
No, there was, is it the crown jewel? What was it, the phrase? I know there was a discrepancy in the last meeting.
I'm embarrassed. I should be extremely embarrassed that I don't know that.
I can share. It is.
Thank you, Catherine.
It is the jewel in the crown of Sugar Hill.
There we go.
Okay. And then also, we already said holds a public meeting. I think it's appropriate before we pass the baton to the microphone to Barbara. I think there should be another whereas that includes the forum, the proper phrases. So whereas the Morris Jamel Mansion held what you held in December, we should be including that. What do you think?
I think that's good, but I just want to make sure that we also have, I think it says, we also want it to be ongoing.
Yes.
Just like Danny mentioned when we were talking about the basketball court. We had many updates.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
had like,
they would come every time we had a meeting, and then after that we had like that one meeting with like the whole neighborhood.
yeah, we had the whole neighborhood here.
And they heard everything, and like the things that the neighborhood asked for, they put in. So
it was like a living.
It was, yeah,
it's like a living document.
Yeah, it was like a symbiotic relationship and all that.
So, Catherine, just to defer to you. How are you guys planning? How many more virtual parlor chats of updates will you have?
Well, we were talking about doing an update, another virtual parlor chat in, oh gosh, I can't remember if we said May or June, because we will have much more to report at that time. So we are planning to have that additional virtual parlor chat about the latest on the restoration at that point. And we will do this again and again as we go through the restoration, because it's going to take some time once we start.
No, we understand that. We understand that. Just as long as I think it reflects that the community feels secure that, the board of MJM will keep their word. And I know with you at the helm, you will do that.
Well,
Barbara
this
has
is
a question.
also HHT.
Don't fall down. I'm giving you a compliment.
Sorry. Thank you. But I think HHT is also committed, to trying to do a better job with us to communicate.
Okay, Barbara?
You're mute, Barbara. Barbara, you're mute.
I wanted to suggest that there be in the whereases, there be an insertion that it generally mentions that it became a historical landmark, both interior and exterior. I think there should maybe be in the whereases a 1 or 2 line insertion that the Morris Jamel Mansion is unique, that it was, in other words, it's revolutionary period, colonial period history of not only its role in both the Revolutionary War, and that the major figures of that American history period, Aaron Burr, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, the wife of the woman who wrote 12 Years a Slave, all resided there. In other words, that all those major historical figures resided there. It's not just a historical house. That history was made there. That the Revolutionary War and colonial period history was actually made and lived in that house.
Wouldn't calling it a landmark just it'd be good of itself? Wouldn't it just say it calling it a landmark would just be good of itself, because that's why anyone would even want to call it a landmark. I think what you're trying to, and I hear what you're saying, where it's like let's add more things to give the house value. And I think if you look up just Morris Jamel Mansion, you can get a lot of what you mentioned plus more. And
things can become a landmark because of the architect who designed it, the location it's located in, its architectural significance. There's about 7 or 8 different criteria for becoming a landmark, and the Jumel meets it on especially not only its architecture but what happened in there. And I think that should be mentioned. The other reason I'm thinking of that, because you want to increase its ability to attract grants and money and interest. And I'm thinking about what goes on down at France's Tavern, if people are familiar with that. that has a whole group of very, very rich Revolutionary War aficionados. They hold balls down there, $1,000 a plate dinners, stuff like that.
Well, it's also, they've got a restaurant, it's basically a restaurant. So, I mean, they just have a whole different thing.
I wonder, just like saying, like, is like one of the first houses in Manhattan? Because
we can say it's the oldest, right, Catherine, correct me, it's the oldest freestanding home.
It is
in
the oldest
Manhattan.
residence in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So can I say something? Two things.
Sure.
Catherine, remind me when the virtual parlor chat was held? Remind me of the date?
December 22nd.
No, I thought it was the 20th.
Oh, it was the 20th. It was the 20th.
It was the
Yeah,
20th.
absolutely
You're
right.
We had
It was fantastic. I was there, Catherine. And the offer still is open. If you ever want to facilitate something in Spanish, I'm the person to do that. I just don't have the bandwidth or the academic preparation to actually do simultaneous translation. So, but if you ever want to get a whole bunch of Spanish speakers and you give me the entry points, I will gladly facilitate anything for you.
Thank you.
Voluntarily. Barbara.
Put a second question though, before you lose your train of thought, Luann.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So not the question, but I understand what you're saying, Barbara, but let me just offer some caution in terms of regarding presenting sort of like subjective information. Like, I understand what you're saying and it has validity, but if we're going to word this, let's word this around facts and not how we individually feel about the house. And I'm going to say this because words like colonial, that can get a bit murky because not everybody agrees with colonial monuments. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just presenting a counter.
Well, the Revolutionary War period. I mean, that's one of the great significances of the Jamel Mansion. That was one of the planning places for some of the battles. And the people that live there and so forth. I mean, Aaron Burr is not a hero, but he certainly is a historical figure. So I'm just saying that major historical figures, for good or bad, all lived there, worked there, and major historical events took place there. I mean, it's more than just the oldest freestanding, architecturally significant house in Manhattan. It's that history took place there.
I'm writing.
That's the reason that in part also why the interior is so significant in terms of the landmark status.
What do we just accept Duke Ellington's quote as that, because it is hard to find like that one word to
I got it.
Describe that.
There's somebody that wants to speak. Keltha McCulley raised her hand. But I typed it up. I'm going to read it and see how it lands and how it feels.
Okay.
I think you have to promote. I think you have to ask Kel. I hope I'm saying. I need my glasses. It's either Keitha or Keltha. Oof.
I just see this was about the police, the malfeasance of the police department. That's the only thing I see.
Well, she has her hand raised.
Okay. I was going to say to.
Sorry if I use the.
Let me see here.
Oh.
I was gonna suggest to Catherine, like, if that virtual parlor worked, like they should do that. Like, that'd be cool. They do that bi-monthly. Like, even if they have information or not. Because I think people like that kind of stuff where it's just like if there are a lot of people asking for information. Wouldn't it just be easier to be like, we're expecting information in the second month,
a timeline. So we want like a timeline of
even if they don't have any information, like like a bi-monthly virtual party chat,
or even just Catherine, maybe when you do your programming updates, you can say.
Yeah, I think, Alexis, you're hitting it right in terms of the whole idea of other ways for us to also communicate things. And one of the things that we're working on right now is a very short newsletter that will have a restoration report in it.
Oh,
and so that is another way that we can, keep people up on things. That will be posted to our website. We posted on our gate a QR code that people can use to get to the YouTube channel so that they can see the virtual parlor chat. I know that's not a new thing, but it's just another way that we're trying to get people to see the information that's out there. So I think we're trying to find different ways, a variety of ways, I should say, to communicate what's happening. And so maybe like Jana just did with, all the capital projects happening across parks, I can just do a real, concise one on what's happening with the restoration at MJM.
Right.
I think that's
great. That's great.
I answered the question. How does this sound, right? Whereas the Morris Jumel Mansion is the oldest, what do we say, residential building, or the oldest?
Just residence
in Manhattan, and holds historical significance.
That sounds nice. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, we have Avatar Neil is here from the public. He has a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. She may have said it, but how often is the newsletter planning to be sent out?
How often will the newsletter be sent out, Catherine?
We're hoping to do that monthly. We're working right now to get this January issue, the first issue, out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It really works. It really, and I'll just defer again to what Danny and I were saying, is when we're talking about this basketball court, it really created any ill will that was there. The more communication and the more feedback that the community was allowed, and the more that the community felt heard, it built goodwill that was not there before.
There's only 12 months in a year. Like,
Yeah.
That's 12 newsletters.
Yeah.
Like they can spend 2 hours.
Yeah.
In a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true. I really enjoyed that process where it did open up that communication, and the parks heard it, and they enjoyed it too, because they like found it like a challenge to give the needs, but not give them everything that they asked for.
Yeah, I mean,
meet in the middle, and the public understood it. The public really appreciated that.
it did. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, it was the way they were putting the fence, and it looked like a prison fence, and it was offensive. And the community said, "Hey, we this is not what we want. Feels like a prison." And Parks went back and they made the adjustments. Came back. CB12 came back to this committee with a new design.
Yeah.
So it's just not that going to do that for Marshall. Not sure we're not, but it was that dialogue that brought about camaraderie. And I just think it's
go ahead, Catherine. And then I want somebody, Keltha raised her hand, and I was able to figure out how I enable for this person to talk, this member of the community.
Catherine.
Like I said before.
I was just agreeing. I don't.
All right.
Yeah, I was just saying it's just really important, as Catherine knows, that the community needs to feel that the mansion belongs to us all.
Right. If not, I'm gonna start banging.
Sorry, I want to allow somebody. I'm so sorry. Somebody has been waiting patiently in the chat to speak, and they raised their hand. So I just want to allow them to talk. I'm so sorry. I don't want this to become I want to also engage others. Keltha.
Hi. First of all, you were correct. It's with an L, Keltha.
Oh, yes. Now I see it.
Well done. Well
My
done.
apologies.
And you don't know that I'm patient, but anyway, thank you for that. So
I assume positive intent.
Okay, thank you. I will try to be. I think when it comes to Morris Jumel, that it doesn't just hold historical significance, but current significance. And for instance, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the writer of Hamilton, not only was inspired, but wrote many of the pieces in the mansion itself. He sat there. And so there's video of him doing this. So I think that if we bring it a little bit into current times, that also will engage some people that may or may not really care about history as much or feel it concerns them.
Okay. I added current to that whereas, but I did that. Thank you for that. And I'm so sorry. I responded it also on the chat. I responded to Keltha that we want to be cautious not to single out individuals, because then it can get a little bit murky as to why does Lin-Manuel Miranda get to mention and others don't. What is a fact, for example, in terms of the historical significance, is that in the midst of the Harlem Renaissance, the great Duke Ellington named it this. So we added this as sort of like a closing, because I think that the jewel in the crown of Sugar Hill encompasses that, right? All of what we're saying, if that makes sense.
Personally see a problem with Lin-Manuel Miranda because he is so incredibly popular right now. And just like Duke Ellington, he is like well, he's a living legend. Duke Ellington has passed, but you know what I mean? He's a legend in his own time. And it just brings it even from far, far away to through Duke Ellington, even through today and beyond. Who knows? And I do have to leave. I'm sorry. I have another Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I love it. Bye.
Thank you, Kelpa.
Luana, I wonder if, instead of like putting historical and current significance, I wonder if you could put holds ongoing historical significance.
Something, yeah, that's sort of the wording, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Got it. Say less.
Because it's just like, I don't know, it gives it the historical and it gives it at whatever period and it still holds its value. So I would say like
Thank
ongoing
you.
historical significance.
I appreciate that that
I agree.
tweak, because I think what I try to convey to visitors is that it is many layers of history. It's not just the revolution. It's not just the Jumels. It's many different things, and it continues as we speak.
Yeah, and it conveys that it's what happens there. It's not just a building and architecture. It's what happens there.
Right.
You know, there's a mystery surrounding a filmmaker who was there and was never found again. I mean, it was a tavern. It was so many things, and I think if we just say past and present and summarize that, it will encompass it all.
Catherine, do you know off the top of your head how many people attended that virtual parlor roughly? Because I think if we added to this whereas, it makes an impact that a lot of people were interested in this. And the fact that you guys did the outreach appropriately, you know, I would like to add, if the committee agrees, held a virtual parlor chat on December where roughly how many, about an estimate?
About 75.
About, not roughly.
We were hoping for, we had about 110 sign up, but just 75.
Hey, it was Christmas.
Yeah, it was pretty good. 25%.
Yeah, 5 days before Christmas. That was really good.
Yeah. I forgot about every one of my meetings.
I mean, does it matter to put an amount to the number, to actually attach the number of attendees, or just say that you did indeed held?
I'm not sure, because we don't know. Like, I haven't looked at how many people have looked at the video.
Just say well attended.
Okay.
I like that.
Thank you, Barbara.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
You were missed.
Barbara.
Never a dull moment when I'm around.
I have to say, you have brought life back to see.
And you say that with that dry New York,
yes,
monotone humor that I happen to love.
Yes.
But with a smile, so we know what the intention is. So, committee members, this is what we have drafted. As a reminder, it goes through the board and we might get comments as to how to further tweak the language at the board level. Do we have a motion or do we continue the discussion on language?
I submit a motion that we adopt it with the little tweaks that we put in it.
And those tweaks have been inserted. You can read it for yourself.
Okay.
Okay, so I think now,
So we have to second, someone has to second it.
well, what we've done, I know when, we have, the committee members vote for it first, and then we turn it over to, the
And
people
just
in
for
attendance.
clarification, because I was.
Am I right, Barbara?
Yeah, well, do we have a second?
Well, no, I want to make sure that everybody has read it before we second it.
Oh, okay.
Before
Oh,
we
okay.
do the
All right.
motion. Because once,
And-
we can't go back. Oh,
And I was just gonna say, just for clarification, because I did text Catherine about this whole attendance situation. Yes, we do have an official quorum, and us calling that quorum earlier counts. Alvin definitely is not on this committee, so it's you, me, and Barbara who will count as the official
quorum.
Okay. And then after that, it's how the whole
but then I
overranking
can vote on it. It's to present the resolution. So because there's quorum, the resolution has been presented. I can vote when I'm remote.
Yeah, you could definitely vote, but your vote is not a quorum vote, but it's a vote nonetheless.
Yes, it's a nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Barbara's vote is a official quorum vote because she has an exemption, and if
Thank you, I couldn't think of that word.
yeah, if you weren't sick and you were here, then it would have even been more of a quorum, because then it would have been 5. What is it, 2 over 1 or whatever the whole situation is. But
so do we have a motion?
Yeah, let's just.
Do we have a
so
motion?
I introduce a motion to accept the resolution as written.
And then.
And I second it.
And
now we vote.
Yes.
Then we vote it, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody in favor, raise their hands if you're on Zoom. So we have 1, 2, 3.
So it passed unanimously.
Okay, and now what about members of the public? We also get members of the public.
Yeah.
No, Naima's not here. No, members of the public don't vote, I don't think.
We always would poll members of the public, always.
What's that?
It's not binding, but we would poll them, yes.
Oh,
we always
poll
do.
them, okay.
Yeah, and the committee level, we take everybody's vote.
Yeah.
The first vote is members of the committee. The next vote is if there's members of CB12 there that aren't on the committee. I don't think we have that tonight. I don't think there's any.
We have
if somebody from health and environment happened to come or something, then they would vote. Other CB12.
Committee members, board members, and then members of the public.
Members of the public.
Letting me show. Oh, I'm not host anymore. I got to reclaim host. Or unless Luana, you can see if everybody's raising their hands in the view. So.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Yeah.
Also,
members of the public.
A point of clarification, in new business, we have Tara Das from EDC who wants to present an update, a quick update.
And I have Avatar Neal from Larry Neal Dog Run here as well.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have the vote on the
unanimously
resolution?
at the committee level?
Yes.
Okay, and what about the public?
I
What
don't
about
see
the
anything
public?
from the public. Hold on.
So we had two votes. We didn't vote.
I don't know what I'm voting for.
Oh, it's about the Morrisville resolution.
No, I don't see anything. I don't see any questions in the public.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Applause.
All right. Yes, yes.
Right.
Good, good.
Let's do this.
All right, now I can see it now.
So that was old business, Alexis.
Yes, it was. New business, you said you had
Miss Tara
Tara
Das. Das. Sorry, Das.
Yes.
Das, yes.
Thank you so much.
I go back and forth. Das.
All good. I appreciate it, Luana.
See you. Come over here, so when it's your turn, you can be on the owl. Okay, dear. Tara, can you introduce yourself, please?
Of course. Thank you so much. And thank you for adding me on to new business. My name is Tara Das. I'm with our government and community relations team at EDC. Last time I came to one of these meetings was earlier this fall. And as you may remember, EDC and Parks have been working on the early planning and design phases for 2 new parks in Inwood at Academy Street and North Cove. We are still in the process of working on the resilience study and conceptual design. As you may recall, prior to that, we had launched a robust community engagement process, including a survey and several workshops. So we're still in the process of doing resiliency study and then incorporating that with a lot of the feedback that we got through that engagement. And we'll be able to come back later this spring with a more thorough update of those conceptual designs. So really appreciate all the partnership that we've gotten so far. And if you have any questions, I will drop my email in the chat and link the webpage for any news and updates as well.
Thank you. I don't see that there are any questions.
Will you be having another community meeting, another scoping, or what stage of process is that at?
Yeah, our next step will be coming back to the community board with a presentation of our conceptual design. We'll be able to talk about next steps after that. But yeah, our next immediate step will be returning to this meeting to present what our initial design concepts are.
But what about a community meeting in the community itself over east of Broadway?
Oh, you mean like an in-person public meeting separate from this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly something that we can revisit. Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, Barbara, are you done? Because there's what is your name, sir?
Lewis.
Lewis, a member of our community, has a question.
Yes, this is for Tara. Tara, on the down low, we've been doing Native American ceremonies in the North Cove for many years. And during the Inwood rezoning, we presented our concerns for the developing. Mainly that's a burial ground, that area, and also it's a historical Lenape settlement. So we would like to be included in that development, the planning. Because in all the discussions, we're not hearing the needed representation, especially during the rezoning meetings. So we would like to be included. That's why I'm here today, to see how I could.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Bridge,
Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind, could you I just logged my email or like my email into the chat. Would you mind shooting me an email just so I can reach out to you
All right.
and your group directly?
Can you see it on your end?
Oh no, I see.
You see it on there?
There, you can use that paper and write it on the back for her.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, sir. Hi, Tara. It's Jana. Hi, great to have you with us tonight. Alexis, the gentleman who just spoke, would also be able to share his information in the chat, because I want to share some information with him around some of the Lenape work that we're doing at Parks.
Nice.
Here you go, Jan.
This is Tara's information.
Yeah.
And you've done your information, and I'll put it in the chat over there.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Now may I speak? I have another concern that sorry, we had determined I'm very bad on names. You'll know that about me. I really, really bad on names. But the man who recently passed away, the Birdman in the North Cove, and who really started getting the cove cleared out of junk years ago, and he passed away about a year and a half ago. We determined that it was a bird pathway, a bird what do you call it? A bird
No, James
flyway.
Is
What?
that his name? James Cataldi? Someone just wrote.
Yeah, James. Yeah, James Cataldi. Right. James Cataldi. That it was a bird migration path, and that those issues of what the birds need, and I'm very concerned because these high rises are now going up there, and can really damage the birds. And I think any EDC plan has got to have mitigating effects for the birds that are going migrating through there, and it's got to be explicitly considered and explicitly answered for. And I think you have to go back and look at James Cataldi's work and the legacy that he has done there, not to be forgotten, and it's got to be understood and answered for and looked at. And I'd like to see you report back to the community board analyzing what he did and the issue of bird migration paths through that North Cove and East River area.
Thank you,
That's all.
Barbara. I really appreciate that. And just as a reminder, this is entirely going to be a green space. There will be no development as a part of these no building development as part of these projects. But we certainly are very well aware of Mr. Cataldi's work and want to be using the space as to honor his legacy as well. So thank you, Barbara, for bringing that up. And that's.
But I mean, like what kind of flora, what kind of fawn plantings, what kind of marsh grasses, what the birds need, and to really, to answer to that.
Thank you. Yes.
As opposed to Kathy Hochul's floating swimming pools.
Oh, that's all I'm going to say. Oh,
I won't touch it. I'm leaving it alone. Sorry, I brought it up. Sorry.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I just have a permanent switch.
I didn't say it. Sorry.
That Tara's from again? Hold on.
EDC.
EDC, right?
Yeah.
I just want to add.
Yes, please.
For many years, James and I, Birdman, we used to run sweat lodges there undercover. Undercover.
Yeah, when I worked with kids who had severe emotional problems, we did sweat lodges with them until New Jersey thought that it was not cool.
Yeah, and speaking of remembering people, like we mentioned Sally to be remembered in Inwood Hill Park, I would like that James Cataldi somehow in his memory be somehow incorporated into this North Cove development in some manner. Maybe you could, who's working with the Lenape thing, you would think of something appropriate that would also incorporate his memory in there, some kind of memoriam over there. How do people feel about that?
I think that's beautiful, Barbara.
Beautiful. Okay, so that would also take that back to the EDC. Thank you.
All right, are we ready to move on? Because we have Avatar Neil from Larry Neal's dog.
I'm not presenting today.
No, but did you want to give an update?
No, we're not ready. I just came here to observe, but next meeting we will be.
Okay, great.
Give you an update because we are last time we already gave the updated presentation.
Right.
I wanted to meet with you and
Luana. Yeah,
Luana, before we went any further.
So what we'll do is maybe we'll arrange a Zoom between us.
Yeah,
the three
or
of us.
coffee, something less formal,
Yeah, if you want a treat, sure. No.
I got you.
But yeah, so we can take the next steps because I just want to say we want this to happen for that neighborhood. Just because it's really getting people, it's out, the off-leash part in Roger Morris Park is getting really out of control. I mean, I have a pit bull, my pit bull loves people, other dogs, not so much. But I saw somebody training their pit bulls there the other morning.
Oh, wow.
And, we have to really work together as a community to not only get a safe dog run for everybody and for the dog lovers, because I'm on your side, we're all on your side, but we also have to keep Roger Morris Park and Morris Jamel safe because kids go in there.
Well, not just Jamel Mansion, but also the
Adventure Park.
Adventure Park as well, and the area that we've designated for
Right.
that we have planned.
Which is why you need, that's the
Yeah.
fencing. I'm just speaking to what I see in
Mhm.
Raj Morris Park, because I have to take my dog in different
Yeah.
paths. Jana, darling.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Alexis, so much for saying that. Hi, Avatar. How you doing?
Great.
Good. Happy leap year. I just want to kind of double down on the off-leash dog problem we're having throughout our 35 Northern Manhattan parks, and just share that we have a number of lawsuits that have happened because of them. So this is serious stuff. And it's, just really, again, Avatar, as you know from our meeting with you, I so appreciate your team and the thoughtful approach to the dog run proposal. As you know, I'm hopeful we can keep moving that forward because we cannot have off-leash dogs in illegal areas for dogs. It's just continuing to spiral out of control and cause a lot of problems and lawsuits. So I just wanted to thank you, Alexis, for your comment and double down on it.
Thank you. Okay, I see Kaya. Kaya, you had a question?
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. I just wanted to echo my agreement with Barbara's comments about honoring James Cataldi and the work that he's done, or he did, at North Cove. I went out there and did some trash removal once myself, and it was truly one of the most polluted places that I have seen in quite a long time. And that's coming from when I used to live in Calcutta.
Right.
Yes. That being said, one of the things that I know that Mr. Cataldi was quite passionate about was the lack of wildlife rehabilitation, the lack of spaces for wildlife health, because, there's the Wild Bird Fund, but it's, effectively 150 odd blocks down. And so many birds and other animals died, unable to reach any kind of care. And I don't actually think there is a dedicated wildlife, what would be the word for it? Rehabilitation center in anywhere in the city. So looking at what the park would look like, is this just going to be a place where people can, ride electric scooters through, and another barbecue area, which we already have quite a few facilities that are for the benefit of our human residents. You're going to have the massive construction, which I believe is where the crane just toppled over, that is potentially going to cause a lot of bird deaths with birds running into those windows right there. Further removing space without replacing it to give them a habitat to thrive. But we're saying, well, it's still a park for the benefit of our human New Yorkers. Are we really considering everyone who benefits from this, including our flora and fauna? From what I've heard from the EDC, the answer really seems to be no. It's about giving residents, as in people of east of Broadway, parkside access while taking away from what was already accessing the park, being the flora and fauna there. Thank you.
Okay, and Shane Perry?
Hello?
Yes. Okay. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so I just wanted to say something regarding the off-leash dog situation. I am a dog owner. I use the Rocky Run dog run, and my experience throughout New York City dealing with other dog owners is there seems to be a collective, I guess, belief, or they're not aware that you're not allowed to just have your dog off leash. I meet a lot of dog owners who say, oh, well, my dog is trained to walk off leash. They don't seem to be aware that legally they're not allowed to do that, regardless of how well your dog is trained, that the dog is only supposed to be off leash in designated areas. And I think that maybe what needs to happen is there needs to be some kind of collaboration with the NYPD and the city in general to get this word out, because there seems to be a collective belief among most dog owners that they can kind of do whatever they want when it comes to dogs being off a leash. If their dog is trained really well, then they think, oh, then that means my dog can walk down the sidewalk without a leash on. And maybe there needs to be some kind of education initiative to make New Yorkers in general aware of what the actual laws are, regardless of what your personal beliefs are. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And
That's
one
excellent.
And one of the things that that Avatar and his group for Larry Neal's dog run is they want to provide education about being responsible dog owners. Thank you. Yeah, so that is, one of his goals for, the dog run that we're working on trying to get, rolling, hopefully sooner than later. Janet, did you have another thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Vice Chair. Thank you for the previous woman's comments. She's very much right. I just wanted to share that to her comments, one of the challenges is, definitely people's belief. Two, because back to Carl's wonderful presentation for New Yorkers for Parks, and again, we hope everyone in New York City joins New Yorkers for Parks. Part of the challenge is that in terms of enforcement of this law, that dogs cannot be off leash, we do not have the personnel to police this issue because of the parks budget. So we, for instance, from 1/25 to 2/25, river to river, we have 4 Parks Enforcement Patrol officers at any one time, 4. 2 shifts of 4 officers. So you can imagine that they're triaging much more important things than a dog off leash, but a dog off leash is an important issue. However, it becomes a situation of triage. So NYPD really has no role in this. It is our Parks Enforcement Patrol officers, and we just have so few because of the budget. So we do rely on citizens very much to help people understand what the rules are and to help enforce them for the community. Thank you.
Man, I've been watching too much Judge Judy this week, so don't go by me. But yes, no, we are very much in support of having Avatar and his committee realize their project, because they want to do right.
Yeah, well, meeting with Carmen De La Rosa's group, they gave us some great ideas about implementing education as far as rules and regulations about dogs, and not only the rules and regulations, but also the benefits of having a dog run so dogs can exercise and get the stuff, everything they need out. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're on your side. Okay, any additional announcements from the committee members? Okay, having said that, do I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second. Second, okay. 8:26.
In 2 hours. In 2 hours.
So
Yes.
true. You know what's funny? We actually had quorum at
6:33.
at 6:30. Yeah, we had quorum at 6:30 when Tracy was here.
Noted in the minutes.
Yeah, we didn't do the math until we had the resolution up here, but we did call it when we had the resolution, at least for the most part.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
We're
Thank
running
you,
a tight
everybody.
ship.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Alexis and Luana. Good meeting.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. Coming from you, that means a lot.
I'm gonna live off that compliment for the rest of the week.
Thank you.